think we all
Hey.
owe Chris Pakula a thank you for putting on the Storm Deck Clinic for us all.
Yeah, I mean, so basically it seemed like obviously super easy to win with tendrils. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh wait, I have Blightsteel Colossus in my deck. This is gonna be fun. I can bounce a token, get the Blightsteel, win. And then I tinkered and I was like, oh wait, this
wait,
So that's what I
this
did.
is
I mean, I was trying to be stylish and got sloppy, but
it. It all worked out in the end.
yeah. Obviously, I could have just chained first. I mean, I even looked to make sure. I'm like, okay, the chain's in my graveyard. I just have to cast it this turn because I Yawgmoth's, like time walking. Like, yeah,
Yeah, there was a lot of time walks.
yeah. I was trying to have fun. You know, I'm not that excited about these. To be honest, I'm so burnt out on Shops and Storm, but I'm not really interested in the other decks. So I'm kind of trying to have fun. So when I play the Storm deck, I'm kind of just clicking. And
Yeah.
usually it works out because the deck's really nasty, it just does whatever it wants to do. But there's still room for human error, it turns out.
Oh yeah. When some of the rusty players like you and I play a
Yeah.
deck like Storm, we keep it entertaining. We'll just leave it that way. We keep it entertaining.
Yeah, I
All
just
right,
so not
so
interested in trying to track down the easiest way to win with the Storm deck for some reason. The Blight's still on my sideboard's real dangerous.
I mean, I was impressed to see the plate steel still in the deck after boarding. So I mean,
Oh, I boarded
if you're
it
gonna
in.
leave it.
Oh no, you gotta
Oh,
board it in against the late line.
oh, fair. I would have thought the all the goblins would do the trick, but
Yeah. Well, I had it all. I had all three in.
yeah, keep your options on. Well, so what match do we have coming up now? Is Steve Menendian versus Rich Shay. Couple of vintage masters battling against each other. You might see some slightly different lines of play than you saw in the last match.
Yes. So I'm guessing Rich is on his Oath deck because he's never tricky. Whatever he's been playing in like the vintage tournaments online is what he just keeps playing in VSL.
Yeah.
And Steve is probably on either Mentor or Doomsday.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Steve has a little bit of range left to him, but I mean, I think you're still. I think it's 90% to be one of those two. That's absolutely fair.
Has Steve ever had range in the history of VSL?
I mean, go
Has
back
he played anything besides
base gush
Delver,
deck.
Mentor, or Doomsday?
Maybe he hasn't, but I would certainly put just like a fast bond gush tendril stack in his range.
Oh yeah, it's true. He could have like a Mentor Pyromancer deck that also has tendrils, or a Doomsday deck that also has tendrils. Anyway, I don't think they're going to be able to manage to do it.
Yeah, I don't know if any of us can be able to manage to do what you did.
I mean
that was pure entertainment. That's why you are a true gem in the Vintage Super League.
I wish I could have broadcast my thoughts. Because like I draw the card, I'm like, oh wait, I have another turn after this one. And then I'm like, oh, that means I could get blitzed. Like, I was like, there's so many turns.
Yes. If you could have broadcast your thoughts, it would have been pure entertainment.
Right. By the way, I switched to Reed Duke's suggested storm list for this week. That's why I have like Chrome Mox and Time Walk in my deck. It's a little bit different. It's a lot spicier.
It looks good. Hey, I've been working with a guy by the name of Rodrigo Tagores Molly pretty much every week. I met him at Vintage Weekend or Eternal Weekend a few years ago, the first year I went out to do commentary. And I've been so out of it in the vintage kind of scene lately, and he does quite well in Europe, that I don't know, I just like to bring some spicy decks from the other side of the pond. But pretty much every week I end up hitting him up on Facebook, and he's giving me tips and, this is terrible. No, that's terrible. No, don't do that. Oh, yeah.
Tinker for Blightsteel and then chain something. Did you notice game one that I couldn't figure out how to use Mind's Desire because I kept trying to duress and it wouldn't let me, but it was because of Leyline?
Oh.
It's like, how can I cast these spells? Don't I just click on them? It won't let me click the rest.
Hey, I've been having a hard enough time lately that now I have to click on the spell and then click on the mana. Like if I put the mana in my pool, I have
Yeah.
to click on it all over again.
Yeah. And
So
we don't know what you're playing yet, right?
no, it's a
You
mystery.
and you and your vintage mentor have cooked up something spicy for match 4 tonight.
Oh yeah, hey, some of the decks he's shown me with like Oath into Emrakul's with Dragon's Breath, and he showed me a counterbalance list that went like 5-2 in the last big Vintage Online event. No, some of the spicy decks he's been able to show me have been great. Uh,
Nice.
Sometimes I don't have the stomach for playing the really spicy ones. Maybe if I had a better record and I didn't have to worry about relegation quite as much, I might play
Ah,
the truly entertaining ones. But uh, no, it's been a lot of fun.
I've
There's way
never
more
known your
viable
deck
vintage
lists.
decks.
To me, your deck lists have never looked like you were worried about relegation.
No, it is what it is. But I still don't know if I have the stomach for oathing into Emrakul right now.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So
That might
Are Steve and Rich ready? Any idea?
check.
I don't know if they're ready to go or what.
Okay, not quite. Uh, yeah, going over one of the deck lists, like I said, with the Emrakul, had a like demonic consultation and channel all in an oath deck. I mean, talk about
Channel is
pure
sweet.
entertainment. Channel is
Yeah,
great.
Channel Emrakul is unreal. I haven't seen that in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, not since Cube.
Now Channel makes Wingding mana, right?
I have no idea.
Like you can channel Kozilek, channel Thought Not Seer. You can channel into 4 Thought Not Seers.
And just reality smashers. Just bring it in.
Yeah. Oh, the chat is remembering when you played with Zernharp.
Oh, hey, I got a lot of grief about that deck, and for Magic Online, it wasn't. I'll be honest, it wasn't a great choice, but it was one of those things where I was just looking at a fairly standard deck, and Zern Orb and the Crucible did slightly more on their own than the Time Vault or the Voltaic Key did on their own, and when I had them together, it worked pretty well. But I was
Yeah, that
certainly
was a
pushing it a little. Hey, I went
yeah. I
two and
mean
one with
that
that
deck
one.
when you got your thing going, it was very impressive to watch. Do you have Kervix Torch in there or something too?
I did just for a little old school flavor.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
we like old school
no, that
flavor. I'm sorry, I'm keep looking over at the chat because I want to see if people discovered more crazy things I did that match. But I guess I missed most of them by being in the match when the real action was happening.
no, hey, we were all impressed. You got to take more lines in that match than any of the rest of us would
It's
have gotten
true.
to take.
I just wanted to keep going. I wish
Yes,
I was still going right now,
we
taking an extra turn.
yeah it was bonus magic for all of us. We all thank you.
I've never played a match with Vintage Storm like out in a tournament outside of VSL. I hope it. I'm pretty sure it shows.
All
Oh,
right,
they
well
already.
I
Yep.
think the match is ready. We can head down to Steve Menendian versus Rich Shay. All right, well Steve is already down to 5 cards. Oh no, excuse me. Sorry, there's something blocking my screen. Scratch that.
Oh, so Rich did switch it up.
Wow.
He went back to shops.
Yeah, I mean, I was with you. I've always seen him playing on Magic Online, whatever he was planning on running in VSL. But I don't know. The Shops deck is just incredible right now. The deck has to be awfully good to make it past that. And with Orchards out of Menendian, you have to figure Oath.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess Steve has played. Oh, I know he's talked about playing Oath in the past. I don't recall him playing it in VSL though, but maybe he played it one time season 1 or something. He might have played it at 1/3 of season 1.
Yeah, I don't have the encyclopedic memory of everybody's VSL decks.
Are you surprised that Rich kept his hand?
I'm very surprised Rich kept his hand.
I mean, this is a real lock yourself under your own sphere scenario, especially when you don't know what you're playing against.
Absolutely. Like, you have no idea what's going on the other side of the board.
He has Batter Skull in his hand, too.
Well, I think that was his first draw.
No, I just mean it's in his deck. We haven't seen that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Batter Skull's made an appearance.
So Steve, of course, forces the sphere because he doesn't know that it would turn off Rich's entire hand. Oh, this is combo oath.
Yeah.
I just realized that I wasn't paying attention to that dark ritual before. That art on that dark ritual did not trigger any dark ritualness to me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. I mean, 2 Dark Rituals and a Demonic Tutor has to leave just about anything in play.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, any guesses on what the tutor goes for here?
It's hard to know without knowing his deck list. I haven't looked at one of these combo oath decks in a while.
Yeah, they always used to be like Burning Wish, and now it's almost certainly, well, he even calls it Petition Oath. So.
Right. So he probably just gets oath, but that's the boring answer. I was trying to figure out if he could somehow use that second ritual and do something crazy, but
Seeing if he could somehow get a Time Walk and a Tinker.
yeah, exactly. Something spicy. So I was hoping Rich would draw a land here to make it at least interesting. One thing we haven't seen in the old, 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever, whenever I played Vintage quite a bit, it used to be quite common for Oath to lose to some combination of like Tangle Wires and the Shops deck using Phyrexian Metamorph to copy like Gristlebrand and just weird stuff like that. We haven't seen anything like that really in VSL recently. But Rich without a land is unable to. Like if he had cast Tangle Wire.
That was. In this deck, it's a lot.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that Thorn is going to make it annoying, but just Gristlebrand being in play could be enough. Although if he can't go off with the Thorn in play, Rich will have his own Gristlebrand soon if he draws a mana source.
Yeah, I can't imagine the Thorn being enough.
And I wish we had Steve's whole deck list.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. Sorry, I cut out there for a second. Trying to get this loaded back up.
Yeah, you were going in and out a little bit there. So Steve, always takes a long time to make decisions.
Well,
So,
I mean, thinking is certainly his favorite part of Magic.
So I guess he has decided there's no reason to draw cards right now. That was a good draw by Rich. So this is interesting because this is where Rich can try to decide, can I guess what Steve's outs are to Artifacts main deck? Like, does he have a Hurkyl's Recall? Does he have Ancient Grudge? Because depending on what those cards are, Rich could try to set up some sort of board that combined with like tangle wire and spheres that Steve can't get out from underneath.
I just don't think he has enough time for that. I think he just has to copy Grizzlebrand and cross his fingers.
Uh, well, I don't know if that's true. I mean, Steve only has 4 permanents. Although he can force a will here. I mean, Steve would have to tap all his stuff. Then Rich could copy Grizzlebrand. And potentially play, and he's tapping Orchard tokens to the Tangle Wire. So he could potentially copy Grizzlebrand and play a Sphere. And now Steve may not, he'll be able to Oath again, though, which is probably, but if he only has Gristlebrands in his deck, that doesn't really help him.
With only 12 cards left, if he wants to draw 7...
I didn't even notice 12 cards left. That's something I always forget to look at Magic Online with the Oath. So I think Steve could, if Steve misses a blue card here, which is almost impossible, he could, this could have been problematic. He could have been in a situation where he wasn't able to get out from under. But now that's probably not going to happen.
I don't even just the. Yeah, I mean, I guess he can metamorph it later, but Steve can draw a bunch of cards at any time.
Right, but imagine Tangle Wire.
It's just a tough situation. Yeah.
Imagine Tangle Wire resolves. All of Steve's stuff's taps. He can play 1 land at any moxes he drew. But that's all he can do. Those decks don't have anything else proactive, so you're going to be able to untap.
No, that's fair. No, I think you were right.
We've seen Oath decks lose with Grizzlebrand and play quite a bit in this league.
We have. More than I would have ever expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you were on the end of at least 2 of those.
God, was I? I remember Rich Shay losing to Williams with Grizzlebrand out. I remember Kai losing.
Didn't you lose to Merfolk?
Was it to Williams also? Out? Yes, I did. I lost to Efro when he was playing Merfolk. I had Grizzlebrand out.
I wish we could see Steve's entire graveyard. There we go. Not that I can really read those, but does he have any spicy recursion that we don't normally see? I don't see anything. Yawgmoth's Will's in the yard. I don't see whatever that weird blue spell with flashback is.
Memory's Journey? I have to believe it's in the 60s somewhere. I mean, even Kai threw one in this time, and this deck is even more dependent on it than Kai's.
There's the Tendrils in the yard. I wonder if he has Doomsday in here somehow, too. That'd be sweet.
Just fit it anywhere. Well, there's only 5 cards we haven't seen. And I'm not used to many decks having the Miser's Doomsday, so...
Well, he could Ritual Dark Petition for whatever one of those 5 cards are. He likes. So, alright, he can minimize that graveyard now. We know what's in there.
He's achieved Spell Mastery by
touch. He has achieved. You should get 3 mana for each 2 spells in your deck.
Yeah. If it would make Steve...
Is he considering
move a little quicker? That would be okay.
I guess he's considering Oathing.
Well, it's a fine consideration if there's Memory's Journey in there.
Right. But will he have... So he would have to immediately... Memory's Journey. That's
yeah, that doesn't work at all. Because he can cast the Memory's Journey, but then he's just down to a solo land, which he can't even ritual off of because it costs 2.
Well, he has 2 mana. So if it costs 2 mana to Memory's Journey, he could Memory's Journey. He could play a land, spend another 2 mana to ritual. That doesn't.
But there's not another 2 mana to be had because
Oh
he's
yeah,
going to have
yeah.
to
He would
Memories
have to.
Journey on
Yeah,
it.
he'd have to ponder to draw one of the 3 cards. So those. I wonder if he. I'm sure he knows that those tokens don't actually fly.
Yeah.
But he can't counter any more spells. So he needs to get permanents in play so that Gristlebrand definitely wins through like Tangle Wires. If he wants to kill with Gristlebrand. Like right now, Metamorph on Gristlebrand could be game over, right?
Well, the tough part's even if if Menendian attacks with Grizzlebrand and drops Rich to 13, Rich can copy Grizzlebrand dropping to 11, and then he can just run it for 7 cards, dropping himself to 4. And I mean, he might just be able to outlast these last 5 cards in Steve's deck.
This is weird. Man, this is hard. So if one of them is Memory's Journey, I don't know these builds. That's the problem. Maybe the chat has an idea of what's going on here. Well, what do you think? Do you think it makes sense from this position to try to combo off or to try to attack?
I don't know if he has any way. Like, I have to believe. I don't know if it was in the graveyard or not, but if he has a main deck Hercules Recall. Well, he just drew
Right.
Memory's Journey.
He drew Memory's Journey. I was just going to that same thing. If he has Hercules Recall, then I feel like he should be able to combo off in a turn. Gets an attack in. Does he say go? Well, he plays a land. He could Ritual Dark Petition, or is he 1 mana short? He's 1 mana short, right? If, for example, he had Hercules Recall in his deck. But he could just ponder if he wants to draw Hercules. No, but he's 1 mana.
Well, if
This is such a weird situation.
whatever's in his, if he wants to, in the end of turn, he play and say, and if another
You're going in and out of their body.
down, he can Memory's Journey, draw 7 cards deck, flashback Memory's Journey, and then draw whatever that one.
Well, it looks like I've lost Bob. So, yeah, not knowing if Steve has a Hercules Recall in his deck is somewhat problematic here. I don't know if we're going to replace Bob or. But, you know, this is pretty typical Menendian. He gets himself in these tight spots, and then he really does a magic to puzzling.
Well, is it getting any better?
Oh, wait. This is great. We have Steve's notepad. Notepad visible. He's actually typing out his lines. Says, so he's saying I can cast Journey for Lotus, Will, and Ritual, play land, draw 7, 8 life, puts him at 8 life, play land, mana crypt, cast Black Lotus, black. This is sweet. So this is this little window into Menendian.
But it sounds like there's no Hercules in his main.
Yeah, no Hercules main is bold. That's a bold decision. I wonder why he's using the orchard. So you can pay a mana, can play land, pay a mana to play Mana Crypt, use that mana to cast Lotus, and then we'll see what happens. Oh, I see the chat thinking, I'm never going to use notes. It takes the spice out of it. What fun would there be if there's the deck's too good? Just do what I want every turn. It's no fun if there's no you know. Same thing last week. I could have done one of the Yawgmoth's Will, like, tutor Yawgmoth's Will lines. That's not fun. It's way more fun to make tokens or blight steals.
It's certainly more fun to keep it spicy.
It's true that if I was 6-2, like you were saying earlier, if I was 6-2, I may have gone for a more traditional win. Or whatever, 4-2.
Perhaps, but all right. So we get to see where this all ended up.
All right, so this is crazy. He planned this all out. He knew he could play Mana Crypt for mana. He knew he could use the Mana Crypt to cast Lotus. He'll still have 1 mana floating. So Moxes don't help him. Dark Rituals help him a little. And Moxes help with the Storm count, which is, I assume, is... He doesn't need a big Tendrils here. It's just a mini.
Yeah, Rituals help a little.
Yeah, I mean, he just needs such a small... I mean, this Tendrils is... He just needs a, 7.
I mean, if he can sneak a Time Walk in Pakula style.
Oh, well, yeah. He could, if he wants to Pakula it. I assumed at some point I would accidentally remove all my ways to win with the Yawgmoth's Will, or I would memory jar a bunch of stuff away and not realize it was leaving my hand at the end of the turn. There were a lot of things to keep track of. So yeah, now these little mini rituals. What happened to that ritual? Why does it say he only has 2 black? Didn't he just cast Dark Ritual? Oh, he used it to cast the Lotus. So what is he doing?
Right, well, I mean, looks like he puzzled his way through it. 0 cards left in his library.
Yeah, well, getting exactly 7 cards in his library, that was the easy part. Memory's Journey helped him out there. So yeah, that was sweet. I guess Steve just does. He's a master at getting in a situation where he knows every card remaining in his library, and he knows how to get them into his hand and win with it. That's like his specialty.
Gets it done.
Yeah. You know what kills him? That you can't really think, gosh, he knows. Yeah, that was sweet. Winning with Storm through a
I'm impressed that he
through a sphere. Yeah. I mean, I think this is exactly what Steve's really good at. Yeah. This is the. You're still not actually pictured, Bob. By the way, I don't know if you. But that is what Steve is good at. That really is his specialty. I mean, I know that he spent a lot of time in this league playing the Delver decks and the Mentor decks. But I feel like most of his success with Delver Mentor decks has just been kind of drawing a lot of Ancient Grudges against Shops players. Where I feel like with the Doomsday decks, I feel like this is really what he's very good at. So Rich, as usual, took 1 second to sideboard. That guy comes in with a plan. So Steve has an Inferno Titan. I guess he likes that against any kind of creature deck. And I think Randy is joining us, coming in for
Hey,
Bob.
Chris. How are you?
All right, man.
You been enjoying the last hour or so?
I have,
Yeah, I can tell.
you know. Sorry about the way that went down.
I'm much more amused than salty.
Well, it was funny because it was like I was like, oh, this is easy, and then I was like, oh right, I have the Blightsteel. Let's do it with Blightsteel, and then things went off the.
Right? I saw the Blight Steel and I'm like, I can block. Then I saw the chain up. Chris? Really?
Yeah, I just but
So of course the Twister hit you. You got hit by all three Twisters. It was a fairly frustrating match from my side.
I mean, I just had Time Twister both games.
Well, but in the first game, I should kill you. I had 3 turns. I couldn't find a dredger, or you would never have gotten your 3rd turn if my draw is reasonable.
Right.
And then like you have to actually find access to your chain.
Yeah. Well, when your Mind's Desire for 18.
Yeah. Well, look, if your business spell is tutor though, like obviously Mind's Desire I can't beat, but if your business spell is a tutor, I have a mental misstep for the chain in that hand.
Right. Yeah. And
Yep.
I actually took conservative routes at the beginning of the second game, and then your draw was crazy.
Yeah, no. Well, if I hit second bridge, like when I have 2 bazaars, I kind of expect to win on turn 2.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously don't know I have 2 bazaars, and it was a mulligan hand.
Right.
But if I just hit a second dredge, I kill you on turn 2. Or second bridge.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know about that. I have actually not seen that card. That dragon.
Oh, Kalagon.
Yeah.
It's basically the same as Flamekin Zealot. Like Flamekin Zealot, if you have a bunch of zombies, does slightly more damage, but Kalagon is flying and big enough to survive Elish Norn and flies over moat, and like there's like 3 corner cases where it's mildly better.
Well, I wasn't sure if its second ability would mess me up.
Fair.
But given my precarious situation, I didn't have a lot of. All right, so we're going to game 2 here. Rich did mulligan this time.
Couple times.
And yeah, a couple times. I didn't see what he left on top, but he has first turn Sphere.
Pretty good.
Usually
yeah,
good.
I talked with Steve a little bit before this week because we both play Rich Shay, and we had him on 80-90% to play Odd Oath. Maybe 80%. But I'm a little surprised to see him on the Shops deck here. And I know that, obviously, if Menendian knew that Rich was going to be playing Shops, you wouldn't see this crazy combo Oath deck out of him, right?
Right.
I mean, the Oath part is pretty good in the Shops matchup, but the combo is not usually.
Yeah. Well, so this is Rich is on not much, but he's hoping that it's enough.
Yeah. Sphere is certainly annoying.
It is not looking like it's going to be enough, though. You know, Steve has a Nature's Claim. He has 2 more lands. Rich needs to draw another Sphere effect or something. I mean, obviously he could. Well, any land is fine here. Oh no, he needs 1 more mana. He needs a double land. Some sort of Ancient Tomb or some sort of Eye of Ugin, something. What made you play Dredge?
I thought that my meta game of Worth of Opponents was going to be on Oath and Shops, with maybe a little bit of Storm in the mix. And I think so. I basically said Dredge it's a decent matchup against Workshop. Like you can still lose to turn 1 Lodestone Golem, but if they don't turn 1 Lodestone Golem you, I think you're a decent favorite even after sideboarding. I mean, whatever. They can have 8 sideboard cards, but nobody in VSL should have 8 sideboard cards against Dredge because it's such a small portion of the metagame, right? You can't, like, it is correct for VSL players to skimp on Dredge sideboard cards. So anyway, yeah, I think I'm a favorite against the Shops decks that should get run in VSL. I'm a pretty good favorite against Oath, which I'm disappointed to see Rich not on. And I set my main deck up with main deck Misstep and main deck Leyline, thinking that would give me a decent shot against Storm. I mean, I wasn't happy you were on Storm, but I still felt like, I don't know, I felt it was kind of a 50-50 match.
Yeah. It's funny, me having the Reed Duke version with a Misstep is better against Leyline.
You also had a chain in the main, which you did not have last week.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
once you
Rich
kept
drew.
playing, I kind of figured you had a chain in the main, but I was still annoyed that you'd.
It's funny. You leylined me, and I was like, oh, do I lose? Oh wait, no, I have chain.
Did you think I might play dredge? Was that what led you to that, or you're just like, Reed, give me a deck?
No, I basically said, Reed had tried to get me to play his version of Storm in the past,
Yeah,
so this week I decided to do it.
fair enough.
Which obviously did not work in my favor because it just gave me all these fancy options.
It works
So,
just fine.
yeah.
You have the scoreboard defense to go
If
with.
you had mental misstep the Dark Ritual on the last turn, I'm not sure I could have won.
Oh my god. I just felt like you had infinite mana. Is this the one where I waited to misstep the chain? Like the Mind's Desire turn?
No, the very last turn where you chain my Blightsteel and then I end up Ritual Tendril.
Oh, sure, of course. I didn't have a misstep in that hand.
Yeah. So Rich drew the fanciest double land in his deck, the Tellurian Academy.
You did?
So Steve's still looking pretty good. But Rich drew what he had to do to give him the best shot.
Steve gonna upkeep Nature's Claim? Is that where we're at? Oh, end step. Sure.
I didn't get to see Rich's sideboard, so I don't know if he has Cage or something that stops Oath.
I was getting under the call. I didn't look at the sideboarding.
Oh, Rich sideboard in like 4 seconds.
Fair enough.
Uh-oh. I just got an IM from Reed.
Ah! Is he proud?
I can't say the words that he's using. Well, it's Reed Duke. He only says nice words. I'm sorry.
True.
I misspoke.
Chad says he has Cage, by the way. Rich. So Tango Wire slows us down a little bit.
Yeah. So this chat saying he did bring in Cages in that 4 seconds he was sideboarding.
Yep.
So here's a Thorn.
And Steve has a Force of Will, which you can think about. Probably should force it, right? Rich is down to 1 card.
It's so tough because Steve has such specific lines in mind of how he's going to get out of situations.
Fair.
Where if his line that he was already planning on doing can be done through that Thorn, he's not going to force that Thorn.
Yeah.
But it's getting a little dangerous now. He knows he's going to be able to force or will something the next turn. That's the thing. He knows he can always force because he can have 1 untapped mana here.
Yeah.
I guess the thing he could lose to is a Strip Mine followed by a spell, which we don't see very much. We haven't seen a lot of strip your land, declare an attack phase, which I feel like that my first 5 years of playing Vintage 20 years ago, I feel like there was a lot of that.
Fair. There were 4 strip mines.
There were 4 strip mines, yeah. Man, this Ravager. This is why Ravager shops. I just don't enjoy it. You just draw a Ravager right here, and you're like, what is this? Is he not going to metamorph the Thorn?
That seems crazy.
Yeah, I come from the school of shops where you just if copying a sphere is eligible, that's what you do.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But the thing is that Steve has 5 mana in play now, and you're going to have at most have 2 sphere effects. Is not great.
And we saw Steve win through 1 Thorn. Like
that was a great line. I mean, the fact that it makes sense now that he took so long in that turn because he knew he could win through a Thorn, or he didn't know. He took the time to figure it out.
Yeah. But you can't win through 2 Thorns. The second Thorn means all of your dark rituals are now neutral. There's no way you can build up a Tendrils win through 2
Thorns. At that
Thorns.
point, you're just going to be able to cast spells that destroy the Thorns.
You have to find them.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is just us saying we would both metamorph the Thorn.
I guess he's going to follow up Metamorph. Since Academy taps for 4.
Sure.
I'm still, after all these years, constantly impressed by Tolarian Academy. Like we still see games where we're talking. We had one last week, I think, maybe 2 weeks ago, where we're just talking like the game's over, and like, oh wait, he's your Academy. That changes everything. Just, it's an absurd card.
I remember when that set first came out, Urza Saga, like we went to the pre-release, it came back. Andrew Cuneo showed up with a Tolarian Academy deck, bunch of cheap artifacts. It was like baubles and whatnot. And he was casting Mahamoti-Djinns. Because that was like all there was to do. Because we hadn't seen a spoiler yet. And we finally saw a spoiler and like, Time Spiral? They printed what?
Yeah.
It's like, because the Mahamoti-Djinn deck was plenty good enough to win.
Yeah, I never worked on combo decks back then. It took me until what set was Memory Jar in?
The next one.
Yeah, that's when Memory Jar is what put me over the edge. I was like, come on. All right, so Steve is going to have to draw something.
Yeah. Because are we going to see Inferno Titan try to kill Ravager? Like, is that the thing that could happen here?
Well,
it's 1 red mana away.
1 red mana, yeah. Thorn doesn't stop Inferno Titan. Yeah. The ritual doesn't help him because he only has 1 red.
Yeah. I mean, Steve does have his oath turned on anyway, so I mean,
he's gonna have to make a big Mishra's.
I assume the Ravagers is gonna commit suicide, drop all the counters on a Mishra's Factory, and that just becomes Rich's plan to win through oath. Never turn on the oath.
That's pretty sweet, actually. Huge Mishra's Factory.
Not bad. I wanted to see Inferno Titan fight the Ravager, though.
Well, that way. I don't think the Mishra's Factory is going to have a hard time. Well, it actually could get big enough. It actually would be big enough to fight the Titan. Because he can pump it with the other factory. So if he casts Inferno Titan...
well, then Rich oaths.
Oh, right.
Rich gets to oath if he casts an Inferno Titan.
Yeah, that's amazing. The Inferno Titan can't actually block that factory right now. What a strange game this was. Obviously, we got it slowed down quite a bit.
We just need to go to game 3 so we can have another Menendian versus the Clock showdown.
Yeah.
He's undefeated versus the Clock so far. He's never actually timed out. But he's they have fought multiple times.
Did we change the Clock after season 1, or was it always?
I think season 1 we might have been on 60.
Wow.
We've been 40 for a long time though.
So is this another one of those games where
he's out of creatures, right? He just drew Inferno Titan Grizzlebrand back to back to back.
But is this another one of those games where we think the Shops deck locked him out of the game, but the reality is if he had never cast the Sphere effect, Steve never would have drawn a way to win? It would have been the exact same?
Yes.
Or he just drew no castable...
if Rich had played a creature that would trigger Oath of Druids, then Steve can win. Right. But if Rich doesn't turn on Steve's Oath for him, that draw from Steve does actual nothing. Weird.
He's got them. Are those the Mindbreak traps? I'm finally seeing. He's got 4 cages.
Yeah, 2 Mindbreaks. The hell? He's got 9 anti-dredge cards? How did that happen?
Well,
What the
because
hell is going on? 9! He has 9 anti-dredge cards.
I've always thought Shops against Dredge was a totally reasonable matchup. Part of the reason is because I always have anti-Dredge cards because I hate the Shop sideboard cards.
Yeah, alright.
You have to pick between sideboard cards for other Shops decks, which are all so bad. You're like, I
Yeah.
guess I'll put a big fatty in my sideboard. Although I think that Luis and Ifro have recently really innovated on that front.
Sure.
Sort of interesting. So he's on the Ancient Tomb plan. Rich has Mindbreak Trap and Grafdigger's Cage. And 2 Tangle Wires. That is not that's not really a that's gonna give your opponent a lot of time, that hand. Steve has no green mana and only 1 source of blue. Did they keep these hands or are they considering it?
I believe Steve's thinking.
Yeah, that's
2 Ancient Tombs, that's supposed to be the big plan here, right?
yeah.
No green mana though. I don't think you can keep that.
If you did keep it, would you have to lead with Ancient Tomb?
No idea.
What?
Now you have a bunch of mana and a scry, and I think you probably have to keep that.
Yeah, against Shops. Top card could be Oath.
Right.
So Rich kept his extremely speculative hand, assuming that if he never draws a threat, it's going to be just like the other game was, but the other way around. There's just no way for his hand not to give Steve a lot of time unless he really draws perfectly. This is always interesting, is do you cast that Mana Crypt? And
Right.
this is exactly
Start
the kind of
flipping?
game. This is exactly the kind of game where this Mana Crypt could end up being a big decision. Because this could really slow down.
Yeah, but I mean, you kind of want to get it on the table before they can.
I know.
play Thorn
If they
or
chalice 0, you're super
Sphere.
sad. But the thing is that you can cast it through a sphere, right? So it's like really just chalice 0.
Well, he's not going to chalice 0 on the draw. You already played
Right.
the battle.
So I think playing the Mana Crypt with no action.
Yeah.
Maybe he scryed to the bottom, right? Or no?
I didn't see.
That could be the information I don't have. But I don't. I feel like I've gone through stages where I played that Mana Crypt and I've really regretted it.
He did scry to the top. Ooh, it was Oath. Wow. Man, just imagine if he had a Mana Crypt in his hand right now and he could go Forbidden Orchard Mana Crypt Oath.
Yeah.
And then the Tangle Wire, well, it doesn't prevent Steve from casting Grafdigger's Cage. He still gets Grafdigger's Caged in that world. But yeah, he had an Oath on top that he knew about from the scry.
Right. That does change it.
Isn't it a reason to keep the Crypt in your hand, though?
Well,
I mean,
turn 1
maybe it's
Tangle
just
Wire.
because, yeah, Tangle Wire is...
Turn 1 Tangle Wire is really unusual.
I guess that's fair.
I would have to think about...
Yeah, if it's going to be a Loathsome Golem or Thorn or Sphere, then you want the Mana Crypt in play so that you can play your Oath.
Well, Loathsome doesn't matter.
Yeah, Loathsome doesn't matter, you're right. I guess Sphere and Thorn both say you want the Crypt in play so you don't have to sack your Petal for the Oath.
Now he's going to draw something for the cage.
Yeah.
This is interesting. How crazy is it to... So it's a combo deck. It has Oath, and I would assume that a lot of his other wins involve Yawgmoth's Will.
Yep.
Do you metamorph Grafdigger's Cage?
Huh.
I kind of think you have to.
Versus this hand? I mean, he's probably got Hercules is the problem with that. Like, I'd rather metamorph something that makes it hard to cast Hercules.
You don't really have anything.
No, you don't. You're right. I mean, the cage shuts off Yawgmoth's Will. And it shuts off both the Druids.
I think you have to copy the cage.
I'll buy that.
You can't just lose to one Nature's Claim.
Right. Right. Even if he's going to have Hercules, he's also going to have some targeted stuff. Could easily have an Abrupt Decay floating around in there.
And you just don't have anything to copy.
Oh,
You could re-Tangle Wire, but that doesn't stop the Nature's Claim.
You have another Tangle Wire. You don't even need to Metamorph to do that.
So, look at this Academy.
Not bad.
Mindbreak Trap at some point.
Nah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, it would be unreal. We have
Hard cast Mindbreak Trap?
We have not seen that. That will be incredible.
Well, we've not seen it at his shops.
Right.
Wow.
So
yeah, what's the line? I think he's tempted by Wasteland, but Academy allows him to go Metamorph.
If he copies the cage, he can play Academy and have Mindbreak Trap up. That seems unreal.
Sure.
It's really difficult for Steve to win through 2 Grafdigger's cages with this build, I think.
Yeah, you need Hercules.
Right.
It's just Hercules.
And you have a hard counter, which is not something Shops usually has.
No, it's a good point.
Yep. So that's what he did. Steve is in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in a ton of trouble.
Yeah. Opening hands were pretty bad. This is why people stop playing Oath. It's just so easy to have a cage.
Yep. I like the show and tell tech that Luis was running. That does beat Cage, but I don't think Steve's got room for a show and tell. He's got the whole Tendrils Grizzlebrand package going on. Now with Yawgmoth's Will, is it tempting to just Oath a bunch of stuff into your graveyard?
I mean, you can't cast Yawgmoth's Will with Cage in play.
Yeah. But eventually you're going to have to get rid of the Cage. I guess this doesn't help.
I mean, you have to draw the way to get rid of the Cage first, I think.
Yeah, that sounds
There's
right.
2 of them.
Cages.
Also, how many creatures does he have in his deck? He doesn't have very many, right?
Well, last game we saw him draw Inferno Titan and Grizzlebrand and other Grizzlebrand on back-to-back-to-back turns.
No, I don't think you can. You can, because you would have to Oath and then draw.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's wrong. Spilling your Hercules into the graveyard seems terrible here.
So many Tangle Wires. So, if he draws back-to-back Hercules Recalls,
yeah, it's got to be something like that. Steve is definitely.
I mean, it's possible that Rich, it's not clear he's going to attack the Mistress Factory. So the clock has not really started yet. Just a 1/1, the 1/1 non-flyer. Oh no, he chose Activate Factory over Wasteland. He knows mana's not the constraint. I like it.
I mean, with 5 things getting tapped by Tangle Wire. And with a Mana Crypt on the other side of the table.
It's not all the things.
Yeah. He's not going to answer 2 cages with 1
No,
mana.
no, I know. I think it's I think it's a very good realization that cutting off a mana here is less important than attacking with the factory. Especially with another Tangle Wire coming. So the next turn, you might tap everything. Yeah, this is looking pretty over. I'm hoping that somehow the hard cast Mindbreak Trap is what does it in, but I don't think it's going to.
Not even going to need it.
Yeah.
Still had all these counterspells.
Yeah.
In my shops deck.
That's kind of a bummer because that would have been incredible.
Yeah. We're seeing some separation in the standings at this point, right? The 4-2s keep winning and the 2-4s keep losing. I think you're the only 2-4 to win so far, right?
If you can call it winning.
I mean, your record will show as 3-4. Mine will show as 2-5.
I mean, to be totally fair, like I was over 99% to win that game multiple times in that turn, and then took it lower.
True. Cage number 3?
Yeah.
Might as well. I mean, it doesn't actually do much since you're only losing to Hercules or Rebuild or something.
Yeah, unless you lost to like, I want to see a Mindbreak Trap a hardcast Gristlebrand, but we're not even going to get that because of all these Tangle Wires. So what have we seen so far tonight? We've seen
Me, Steve, and Kai have established the new bottom, the bottom tier. We're all hoping for, who's the other 2-4? Martel? We're hoping for Martel to join us.
I was talking deck wise, but
Sorry. There are other things going on other than the relegation fight. It's actually a decent variety, right?
yeah.
It's 2 oaths, but they're very different. 1 pure storm.
Landstill.
Landstill. Yeah.
Are those mentors out of the board?
And a dredge. For Eric, I don't know. I didn't notice them until after sideboarding, but I don't know where they start.
Steve has not drawn well.
He's drawn like 1 card that does anything, and
In
there's
2
3,
games.
and there's 3 Half Figures cages over there.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I haven't played Oath in a tournament in a really long time. And last time I did, the only way I ever won a game was by hard casting Runescarred Demon. That was the only thing I ever did. I was like, I should just play a, blue-black control deck that hard casts Runescarred Demon. I feel like Oath is only slightly above Dredge in how it's done in VSL.
Sounds about right. Rich is actually, I feel like he's leveling up a little bit as a player here. We all had him on Oath. Like, he definitely zagged when we all expected him to zig.
Yeah, I say this is the first time he's ever
not played the deck he's been running on Magic Online, right?
Yeah.
He plays a lot of Vintage on Magic Online. He streams a lot. We always used to know what he was playing just by looking at the, what did he go 4-0 in the daily with? What did he play in the Power 9 Challenge? He's been pretty focused on 1 deck at a time. Yeah,
he's been totally straightforward. I wonder if he did it based on who his opponents were. I'm not even sure who my opponents are.
You're not making me feel any better.
Well, I was playing, I just wasn't. I was on that 2-deck metagame you were talking about. I'm firmly on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I had you on Shops or Storm. I thought you were more likely to play Shops, but.
I thought I was playing you, Steve, and Ochoa, I think.
It's plausible.
So I thought I was going to face less Shops than I would normally face. So that made Storm easy.
Got it.
Um,
Can that mana
yeah,
crypt
it's always
put
such a
Steve out of
relief.
his misery?
It's always such a relief when you know you don't have to play Ephro. Because I think Eric is like the most likely person to just have some deck you've never even seen before that has some card that just completely devastates your deck. Like that time he had the back to basics against me,
Yeah,
I was like, wow, I can't beat that.
that was a crazy week. I was going back doing archetype standings. That mono blue control deck that Eric, the back to basics deck, it went like 6-0.
Yeah,
Eric played it. I think maybe Williams was on his coattails.
yeah,
It went 5-1
a
or 6-0. It was crazy. And
he's
then
a
it's just
terrifying metagamer.
never been seen since.
Yeah. So when I'm not playing against Eric, it's much easier. I wish there was something to talk about here. I wish there was something he could get mind break trapped. That's all I want. Not gonna happen.
I'm just rooting for Mana Crypt coins to put him out of his misery faster. Oh, he keeps winning the Mana Crypt flips. He's
It's
using
the
it
only
up.
thing he's winning.
He's gonna need those later. He's gonna need those next week.
This is gonna really this is gonna bum him out after
Yeah.
like that sweet game one win.
True.
And then Rich's hand game two was terrible, right?
Yeah. He drew pretty well, but yeah.
He has drawn well. Is Steve really down to 7 minutes in his clock? Wow.
Yes.
That's incredible. What's so incredible about that is he could have conceded like 6 turns ago. Like the last 12 minutes of the clock have been put my oath on the stack, but don't oath. Oh, mind break trap it. I mean, he drew nothing.
He's just casting Yawgmoth's Will into double Grafdigger's Cage.
He's got to mind break trap this. Come on. Come on.
Oh, he got a land. That's the value he got here. He Yawgmoth's Will. He can actually play a land from your graveyard, even
Sweet.
under Grafdigger's Cage.
Although
The value Yawgmoth's Will. He played a
it
Dark
prevents him
Ritual.
from showing that he has absolutely nothing. So that playing the land was actually a negative. Playing the land from his hand, he could have shown this is how bad my draw was. Because he played the land from the graveyard, Rich can still think Steve probably had a pretty good draw.
Oh, where have you been all this time, Lodestone Golem?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, our match was way more fun than this, Randy.
I think even I agree with that.
Yeah. That Mind's Desire for 18, that's exciting.
It was a nice Mind's Desire. I knew that it might be Mind's Desire. I was rooting for you to just have some one tutor as a payoff, but
No. Once you see the Hercules, that's bad news.
yeah.
Yeah, I could have first turn Time Twistered game 2, but I was like, I'm going to try to get some more mana into play and give him one more turn, but then your turn was scary.
Oh yeah, I normally, like, if you tell me that I'm gonna have 2 Bazaars, I expect to kill on turn 2. And then game 1, I just didn't find a Dredger. I had 3 turns that didn't kill you.
Yeah, I guess I'm used to Dredge being a little slower after boarding, but maybe it's because but I guess if you don't expect me to have hate, you don't fill out your deck with as much crap.
Yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I figured I'm main decked against you with 4 chalices and 4 missteps. So I mean, I brought in a couple Nature's Claims just in case you had ley lines or something, and that's basically all I did.
So I might have been too conservative.
Sounds like it. Let's think of some more ways in which justice was not served in that result.
Justice was totally served. I think it showed how good of a matchup it is. But a lot of it is just, I just have to.
How good of a matchup it is. Your deck from last week would have conceded on turn 0 in game 1.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
You know what else Leyline of Sanctity is really good against? Odd Oath. It's insane against Odd Oath. I had a playtest match with Dredge against Rich Shay's Odd Oath that I expected him on. I mulliganed to one card. Not kidding. I mulliganed to one card, and it was Leyline of Sanctity, and I won the game. It's the first time in my life I've won on a mulligan to one.
Wow. He's like just can't. I mean, he wasn't able to hard. He was.
It turns off Oath, right?
Right.
Well, it turns out the top card of my library was Bazaar of Baghdad, so I was able to start going from there. But still, I mean, it's not like I killed in 3-4 turns or anything. But yeah, he can't Oath, and he can't. Yeah, so good against him. It also turned off every single Dredge sideboard card he had in his Odd Oath list.
Oh wait, are we gonna see this? Are we finally gonna Mind Break Trap?
Inferno Titan?
Mind Break Trap it! If he doesn't Mind Break Trap this, I am gonna be so bummed. It's his last card.
It is. Oh my. Come on, Rich Shay.
Notice it's his last card.
Look how big that is.
He's doing it. There we go.
Huzzah! Tap Tolarian Academy. Hardcast Mind Break Trap.
All worth it now.
We did it.
Yeah, that match was over like half an hour ago. Yeah, if they had gone 22 more minutes, we would have hit my birthday.
The Atog Lard moves to 5-2. Steve Menendian falls to 2-5. Different paths for them this season.
Rich has to feel really great. I mean, his opening hands were questionable.
Yeah, fair. He hasn't made the playoffs on one of these yet either. He's been very middle of the pack every VSL season, so he's in good shape at 5-2 to make the playoffs for the first time.
Yeah,
good for him.
Steve had a bad season last season also, or?
Hey, look, Steve's got a win under his belt. Once you got a win under your belt, it's all good from there, right? I hope. Yeah, look at it. Eric up to 5-2. Rich Shay up to 5-2. Kai, Steve, and I are all sitting at 2-5. So see if the trend continues in Luis versus Tom. That is our nightcap match. Coming up now, though, it's time to find out if Webb can hold on to first place or if Bob can put himself right back on the positive side of 500 and in the thick of the playoff race. Thanks for hanging out with us, Chris. Good games.
That was great.
Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back with match number 4.